It's a
terrible take. Stop it. Stop it.
Time for the fast break. Mavs Jazz, as I mentioned, still no Luka, still didn't matter. Jalen Brunson emerging as a quiet star, 31. They win, go up 2-1. Nick, the Jazz are a mess, let's be honest. Are we seeing the last version of this team crumble right before our eyes?
Yeah, you got to fold the franchise, as my buddy Mike Melcher would say, great radio host. You got to listen. You got to change the uniforms. You got to change that ugly court. And you got to trade Rudy Gobert. The only way to get and you probably got to fire Quinn Snyder. Only way to get the stench of not just this is. Can I just tell you what the Jazz have done since Snyder's been the head coach, since Gobert's been there? Okay, so this year there's no Luka, and they're going to lose the series. They've now lost 2 in a row. Last year they're up 2-0. On the Clippers. They lose 4 in a row. Games 5 and 6, there's no Kawhi. The year before, they blow a 3-1 lead to Denver. The year before that, Houston gentleman sweeps them. Houston gentleman sweeps them the year before that, and they're swept by Golden State. How about this? Quinn Snyder, every single year he's been to the playoffs with the Jazz, he's had a 3-game playoff losing streak. Think about that. The 3-game, the most you can have is 4. Every year he's had at least a 3-game playoff losing streak. He's 1 away this year. And it's impossible. And there is, Antoine, I've never seen a player in any sport be so clearly impactful in a positive way in the regular season. And then not just useless in the postseason, but a clear detriment in the postseason is Rudy Gobert. And our friend of the show, Chris Mannix, sent out this tweet, and I wanted to jump off my balcony last night. The Mavs series is actually a weird case for Rudy as Defensive Player of the Year. Without him, Dallas might be averaging 150. Guys, there's this weird thing that is happening with the Jokic and Gobert defenders, where if the teams were to win, it'd be a case of why their guy's amazing. But even when the teams lose, it's a case why the guy's amazing. Well, what do you expect the Nuggets to do? Look at the Sporting Guest. What do you expect the Jazz to do? Here's what I know. There was one moment as a Mavs supporter that I was nervous last night, Antoine. You know when it was? When they benched Gobert and they put in Eric Pascal. I was like, uh-oh, and they went on a run. It's a disaster for Utah. A total abject disaster, and we all saw it coming.
Well, Nick, the series is not over yet, so that's and Luka's not getting the court. So long as Luke is not playing, the Utah Jazz still have an outside chance of winning this series. So the series is not over. But for Utah, you got to be careful if you want to blow this thing up because you're not in the free agent destination place, and you've got 2 All-Stars on this team. You have to be cautious there. Now, coaching, I think now you may need a new voice. Obviously, Quinn Snyder has been very successful. They've won a ton of games, but he hasn't been able to get it done come playoff time. So now you may have to really think about bringing in another coach. But personnel-wise and player-wise, it's very difficult to just say you're going to tear this roster up because it's not like you can go out and say, okay, we're going to land the next big free agent. We're going to win the next big guy. Nobody's going to play in Utah. Nobody's going to play. And if you trade for a guy, he may not want to be there. It's unfortunate. You know, it's been a great place to play basketball, but players in this generation don't want to go play in Utah. It's going to be very hard to do that. You got 2 guys, 2 stars, and Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert that seem like they like being there. You can continue to build around those guys. And I think we get caught up in putting too much pressure on Rudy Gobert. He's a traditional defensive center. He's a Dikembe Mutombo of this time. He's not a guy that's going to come out and wow you with his offensive prowess. He's just a defensive center. So we look at it because he gets all these awards and he makes all-star teams, and we want to put him at this level of Embiid and Joker. He's not that type of center. It's a different game. He's not the reason why they're losing at all. He's actually a big part of why they're sometimes able to stay into games. It's because of him. You just got to make it's time for a coaching change. That's what it's about.
Swan, I do agree with you that I don't blow it up. All right, the Jazz have never won a championship in their franchise's history, yet I think we all would say they've been a great franchise. They're probably a, top 10-ish franchise in the NBA because being competitive and being relevant works for Salt Lake City. They never won it with Stockton and Malone, but that was a legendary run because every year they were there, they were relevant, and it works for Salt Lake City, as I said. So I don't blow it up, but I do look at making a coaching change, and I do, Nick, look at trading Rudy Gobert. I know why you want it to be Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, no, it's not blowing it up. As long as I'm keeping Donovan Mitchell, it's not blowing it up.
Yeah, I keep Donovan
like
too.
To Twan's
okay, we're on the
point,
same page.
I'm not looking for cap room for Rudy Gobert. I'm looking for guys that can come in and make us better. Because you saw last night when they went small and got more athletic, they played better against Dallas. So those are the type of guys I'm looking to bring in. And I know you want Donovan out. And Donovan may very well want out. I don't think that's out of the blue. But he's locked up until 2025. All right? And they hope that Dwayne Wade's presence there can keep Donovan Mitchell there. And so that's what I'm trying to do if I'm the Jazz. Better the team by moving Gobert for athletes and shooters and maybe one star or borderline star and teaming him up with Mitchell. But I'm not blowing this whole thing up and getting rid of Mitchell.
I get it. I like Dwayne Wade. You got Dwayne Wade over here, and then you have the best city in the world and a bunch of in New York City here, and your family and the Mets who you like. I'm leaving. God bless Dwayne Wade. I'm out of there.
So is he going? Is he holding out? Is he holding out? Demanding the trade?
Wait a second.
That's the only way I'm trading.
Wilds, I know the Knicks are one of your 7 favorite teams right beneath the Magic and Timberwolves, but you do recognize, right, that if Donovan is your best player, you have no chance of winning a title. Like, Donovan coming to the Knicks only works if there's someone else coming. You can't win a title with him as your best player. Donovan Mitchell, by the way, owns some of it.
Well, he might
not all of it, but he owns some of it.
Some of it, he
That's true, but he might draw somebody.
Speaking of New York, look who's back. It's all about the Benjamins, or at least somewhat about the Benjamin. Ben Simmons might come back game 4. Hasn't played a game since last May. Twan, how do you see this working? Guaranteed success, right?
I think this would be a terrible move. The only way this move becomes positive if you need some type of energy boost or a little shake up the locker room and the guys need that. He cannot help them. If you watching this series and we're watching Kevin Durant struggle in this series, the Celtics are loading to him, making it very difficult for him. They're being physical with him. Ben Simmons doesn't help that. He doesn't space the floor. He can't make shots. He's not a guy that's going to make the game easier for Kevin Durant. So I don't know why you bring him back. He may help out a little bit defensively, but how are you going to come back in a year and think you finna guard Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum? It's not going to happen. He needs reps. He needs repetition. He needs to play 5-on-5. It's impossible. I don't know, Chris. I don't think you probably been watching these 3 games. But those guys are real good offensively. I think you started really. Hey, listen, I understand you like Brooklyn and you've been drinking that Kool-Aid for a while, but you got to start to come to realization. Ben Simmons sitting out a year ain't coming back and guarding those 2 guys. So I don't know how Ben Simmons is going to help you out. Ben Simmons can't get out Al Horford right now in this series. He's not as impossible.
I'm not expecting Ben Simmons to hold Jason Tatum to 6 points, but he's still athletic. He's still strong. He's still got defensive instincts. You gonna tell me he can't, with effort and commitment, he can't go out there and